want to say thank you to Alice. In spite of her rotator cuff surgery, is playing piano for us this morning because Peter is sick. And Kurt is in Seattle making sure the Seahawks win the division.
Oh, are you tired of it yet?
Oh, I'm tired of this whole holly jolly business.
All I want for Christmas is a nap.
You tired of everything? Angels, shepherds,
Oh yeah,
wise men?
majors, yeah, everything but Herod.
Herod?
Yeah.
You're not tired of Herod?
Well, we don't hear too much about Herod, but he's part of the story, I thought.
He's the icky part of the story.
Yeah.
This is Christmas. Sugar cookies and cocoa and babies in the manger.
Maybe
And you bring up Herod?
Maybe Christmas doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas is a little bit more.
So what about Herod?
Well, it seems that we never read that part, or very seldom read that part of the story.
I'm sure you're going to fix that.
Yep, I'm going to fix that.
Okay.
Part of this we've heard already. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, "Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn king of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him." When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified. And not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city together and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" They told him, "Bethlehem, Judah territory." The prophet Micah wrote it plainly. "It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd rule my people, my Israel." Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east. Pretending to be as devout as they were, he got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them the prophecy about Bethlehem and said, "Go and find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word and I'll join you at once in your worship." Instructed by the king, they set off. Then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. They could hardly contain themselves. They were in the right place. They had arrived at the right time. They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod, so they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own country. I think we read that part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And everybody's good.
Yeah, all's well.
All is well.
All right. After the scholars were gone, God's angel showed up again in Joseph's dream and commanded, "Get up, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt. Stay until further notice. Herod is on the hunt for this child and wants to kill him." Joseph obeyed. He got up, took the child and his mother under cover of darkness. They were out of town and well on their way by daylight. Herod, when he realized that the scholars had tricked him, flew into a rage. He commanded the murder of every little boy 2 years old and under who lived in Bethlehem and the surrounding hills. He determined that age from information he'd gotten from the scholars. Later, when Herod died, God's angel appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. Up, take the child and his mother and return to Israel. All those out to murder the child are dead. One of the catchphrases I've heard for several Christmas seasons now is, let's keep Christ in Christmas. Keep the Christ in Christmas. Joy Carol Wallace says, let's keep Herod in Christmas. See, we need Herod for a reality check. Jesus was not born into a clean, nice, friendly, well-decorated, and well-fed world. Jesus was born into reality. A world that's violent, unjust, impoverished, and hungry. Otherwise, God would not have had to come. The baby in the manger becomes a man on a cross. That was 2,000 years ago, right? I mean, really? 2012, 11 days before Christmas, innocent children were slaughtered in their classrooms in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. This year, 2 weeks before Christmas, 132 innocent children were slaughtered in their classrooms in Pakistan. Maybe it wasn't just 2,000 years ago. So let's keep Herod in Christmas. We need Herod for a reality check.
But don't you think that's a bit of an overreaction on Herod's part? Herod's the king. He's the baby. Herod is threatened by a baby? Of course, in Herod's culture, being king was like being God. I mean, that's who you worship, the king. And he had heard that a baby was going to be born that was going to be king of the Jews, perhaps. It's a baby, a baby. Herod's still number one. Maybe. Some of you have had babies. What happens when you have a baby? It becomes number one. People tell you when you're pregnant, your whole world is going to change. And you go, yeah, I'm going to have a baby. And then you have a baby. And your whole world changes. This baby needs fed, changed, cared for, throws up at the wrong time, poops all over everything. And you are its sole source of survival. 24/7. Do you kind of lose yourself for a while as a parent? Everybody comes to look at the baby. Aww. And then they go away and you still have the baby. You're not so much in the forefront. You're the mother or the father, but look at the baby. Look at the baby. And you've probably seen the TV advertisement where the teenage girl's getting ready to go out with her friends. And her baby is sitting there. And he says, where do you think you're going? She says, I'm going out. And he says, no, you're not. I'm here. You have to pay attention to me. You have to take care of me. I'm number one. Well, Herod didn't like the idea that everybody was going to pay attention to this baby, and he might not be number one anymore. So Christ comes as a baby. God slips into skin and is born among us as a baby. And Christ really never leaves. So we celebrate the birth every year. And every year comes the challenge to step out of your comfort zone. Christ came to teach us something. Herod knows who Jesus is. And we know who Jesus is. Herod will do anything to get rid of Jesus. We know who Jesus is. This baby demands change. We want to adore the baby in the manger. We want to worship the baby in the manger. Following the man on the cross, or to the cross, it gets a little icky sometimes, because that change that is demanded is change in us, so that we can change the world. Austin Fleming, a Catholic priest who writes an article called The Conquered Pastor, says, "We cannot allow ourselves to get stuck in the stable. We want to be stuck in the stable. And we can easily become stuck in the stable. But the stable is only where it begins. Christ's story walks the path of truth, the path of suffering, but also the path of hope. And that path of hope is his gift to us."
So the baby demands change.
Radical change.
Another name for the baby is truth.
Truth.
The truth is, this baby leads us to suffering. Jesus said, "Take up your cross and follow me." Jesus holds a mirror up to our souls and says, "Look." When we truly look, we'll see that we're more concerned about ourselves than about anyone else. It's one of the big three isms, individualism. Jesus came to reveal God and to reveal us to ourselves, because when I look in that mirror, sometimes I see Herod looking back. How do we respond to that reality? Well, we can try to decorate over it. We can choose to not see it, to ignore it. Or we can follow Jesus. On the cross, Jesus sacrificed all of his individualism for our sake. All of it. For the sake of the world. He took on all of our sins. Mine, yours, the world's sins. And left individualism behind. Yet, somehow, in Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection, God, through Jesus, brings us hope.
A people living in darkness, living in the